Let's check the Twitter. Yep. Tweet that. Do that. Okay. Boy, I haven't used... So used to using OBS right now. XSplit is freaking me out, man. Okay.
I thought you always used XSplit for some reason.
So I do, but the problem is my wife was very kind enough to buy me a new capture card since my previous one had died. And I asked for the Elgato HD60, which I got literally a week before the HD60 Pro came out, which is the one I really would have liked. And there's enough of a delay on what it captures and what I get that I have to mess around with the audio delay so much that... And unfortunately, XSplit doesn't have a way to say, okay, I'm going to load this profile with all these settings, or load this one that has all these settings. So unfortunately, I have to use this for E1M1 stuff and the other one for personal stuff.
Gotcha. Weird.
Yeah, and OBS doesn't do it either, so...
yeah, OBS is what I use for everything.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
It's, well, like, I combine that with, I haven't really messed with some of the stuff I want to, but I downloaded that voice meter, whatever thing, that lets you separate all your... Like, any piece of software you have open will then go to a mixer track that you can mute or unmute and just completely dictate what sounds go where, so...
That does seem pretty cool.
It does. It's... like, I kind of want to move even forward, like get like a soundboard or something, but it's already a lot of work.
Yeah. Is Carousel doing well so far?
I think so. I haven't checked the numbers. I've been trying to make myself only check numbers like once a month, but we've had a lot of fun doing it. And I mean, you know, Jake's a piece of trash that deserves to die. No.
He seems to be having a lot of fun.
Jake's great. No, yeah. It's... Well, and he brings a good diversity of opinion that we were always kind of lacking, because like me and Joey are friends in real life, and we tend to start agreeing with each other midway through arguments.
Right, right.
So it brings... And I'm down enough on so many popular things that it's nice having someone who likes some of those things. So we aren't just isolating members of the audience, but
yeah, well,
it's
good.
been cool.
Hopefully it's doing well. All right, let's get started here. If you guys are ready.
I'm ready.
I am ready.
All right, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of Picking Up the Pixels. I'm your host, Boston, and going around the virtual long table, we have Musum.
Hello.
And we have Mina.
Hi.
Let's just get right into it. Let's not further our ados. Musum, what have you been playing this past month?
A lot of... I don't know, a lot of random stuff.
A lot of things.
Yeah, like today was N7 day, so...
Yay, Mass Effect.
Yeah, I love Mass Effect, even though I hate, like, corporate-defined holidays like this. But, like, I don't know, I saw that teaser they did, and then I was like, well, okay. And so I loaded up Mass Effect 3 and hit resume, and I guess I never finished my campaign with my female shepherd. So...
was that the evil playthrough you were going through?
No, I hate that guy.
Oh, that guy's a jerk.
I cannot. I didn't make it through Mass Effect 2 with him. He was such a jerk.
Yeah.
I don't know. One of these days, maybe what I should do is they got to have like a save game editor or something out for Mass Effect now, where I can just pick the variables I want and go into 3 and see what the landscape looks like. But
see how many babies Evil Shepherd is going to punch in Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I just started this up, and I guess I'm somewhere in Act 2. I haven't talked to the Quarians yet, but I have gone through the Asari bit with Samara.
Oh, right.
So kind of my choice was to start the Quarians storyline or go do the one of the DLCs. So I went and started the Omega DLC, which is after not playing the game for a couple years, I think I'm reading listening to what they're saying more than the first time I did when I played through it. Because like the first time you play through it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is like a 4-6 hour thing that has little to nothing to do with the main campaign. I'm on a timeline here, and then you get into Omega, and you're just like, well, I'm wandering around Omega with what's her name? I forgot.
God, I don't remember her name.
Whatever. Carrie Ann Moss. Me and Carrie Ann Moss are hanging out. And then they bring in the female Turian, and you kind of find out the history between them. But I don't know.
I don't know if I ever played that DLC.
It's if you're going to go back and play Mass Effect 3, I don't know that that's the area of the game you should make a priority.
Yeah, it sounds like if I go back to play Mass Effect 3 Citadel, or whatever that last party one is, kind of the one you have to play.
Did you never play it?
I don't think so.
Oh my gosh.
I know I'm a bad Mass Effect fan.
That is worth your time. Like, just load up whatever game you have in there and just go do the Citadel.
Yeah.
Like, it is so ridiculous. It is a DLC that can only exist because they did so well with the characters in the first 3 games. Like,
right.
Like if this new Mass Effect Andromeda comes out and they have a Citadel DLC with all the new characters, like I will probably hate it because those characters,
who are these new losers?
They have not earned it yet. They have not earned that party.
Yeah. You got to see some stuff until you can party.
Well, you know, and I guess on a second point, I guess if they release a 100-hour game with, 80 hours of story, then okay, fine, they can have a party.
That's true, yeah.
Like, because Inquisition kind of had some party moments that I felt were earned, so. But.
That's true, yeah, especially, no spoilers, especially as the game wraps up, there's you kind of get a breather at the end to kind of chat with everyone. That was kind of nice.
Yeah. I really that's one of these things during Christmas I really want to do is get to all the Inquisition DLC, but.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle of the first one, and I'm playing it and going,
yeah.
Not great.
I really want to do a second playthrough of it myself, because I only have that one perspective that I did.
Yeah, that'd be good to play through it again.
You see, I would like to play through it and we never did the spoiler cast, did we?
No.
We just talked about it in depth, I think. Just kind of like what exactly happened differently in each of our own sort of thing.
Okay, yeah. Because I would like to go through basically mimicking your run through, Mina, with all the elfiness.
Female elf, romance soulless.
Yep.
Be mind blown.
See what happens.
Yep. Okay. Let me think. What else did I play? I guess for me, like, there's an elephant in the room, and the elephant in the room is Undertale. Because I'm not going to give you... You're excited about it, so that's good. So maybe you played it, and you can give the opinion that everyone will love, and I'll give the opinion that everyone will hate.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I've already been chewed out for my opinion once. I don't want to be chewed out again.
Well, I'm
gonna chew you out.
I'm actually really excited to hear a contrarian opinion on Undertale, because it seems like it is so universally praised. And I haven't had a chance to buy it and play it yet, but I definitely will. But I'm kind of curious to hear what your opinion is on the other end of the spectrum, because everybody is saying, oh, it's so great, it's the best RPG, which it might be, but I like hearing contrarian opinions.
So before I get into it, let me just say, I'm glad people like it. I'm glad people love it. I don't want my opinion to change any of your love for it. But just know that I basically detest this game.
Okay.
This is not me insulting you as a person. This is not me doing anything. Like, plenty of people love it. I am not going to destroy the sales of this game by having a dissenting opinion. It's okay. I can be different. So Undertale, to me, is a game based entirely on nostalgia. And I'm not really sure what it is based on nostalgia for, but
it seems specifically for Earthbound.
Yeah.
and I've never played Earthbound, but I've had a like the person who chewed me out has never played Earthbound,
Oh.
so
Oh, interesting. Okay.
that may not actually be a requirement. So I basically played 3 bosses in. It kind of has a tongue-in-cheek sense of humor. Like, its sense of humor honestly reminds me of like Sierra adventure games from the 90s.
Okay.
Like full on. Because it's very punny, it's very kind
Oh
of
boy.
self-aware, and I like puns.
That's
so,
Earthbound to a T. What you're describing.
Okay.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Earthbound has that kind of childhood quality to it, right?
It definitely Undertale definitely has that little childhood quality to it.
Okay.
Well, and maybe that's part of my issue with it. Is I hate kids.
Oh.
I don't. Well, no, I don't. I just like I don't like the art style. I don't like the gameplay. Like the all the battles. Well, not all the battles, but definitely all the bosses that I fought so far. The game tells you to do one thing, but to take the pacifist approach, you have to do what the game, like the opposite of what the game tells you to do.
Okay.
And that is not always obvious to me. And like a lot of have you watched any of the, maybe I should just describe how the fight works for the audience. So you get random encounters in the game, and you have the option to attack them, or you can try and do a pacifist option through the act deal. And kind of how the gameplay works out is you are a heart in the middle of a square, and it's kind of a bullet hell shooter, essentially, without the shooting. You're just dodging bullets if you're doing the pacifist thing. And I assume you're shooting bullets if you're doing the attack thing. But I've heard every character described as a puzzle, but I feel like if it were to be a puzzle, then it would have to have some construction that how can I say this in a non-derogatory?
Like there would be some logic to it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
and sometimes there is, and once you execute it, sometimes it's a little bit more obvious, but sometimes it's just like this one boss I was fighting, you're I guess supposed to run away from this particular boss.
Okay.
And that was not obvious to me. I spent a half hour trying to just dodge and pacify my way out of this boss battle, and that was not the solution. And I finally looked it up online. And when you don't pick up on one of these solutions, you're essentially just getting the crap kicked out of you in a bullet hell scenario. So for me, like, a lot of the battles were very miserable because I wasn't getting them. It wasn't making sense to me.
Yeah.
The game has a lot of... I want to say the game has a lot of charm. I think if a lot of the humor and the writing works on someone, then I understand why they would like it. But for me, it is very... I guess I've lived and enjoyed nostalgia so much in my life that it just... It literally has nothing for me.
Well, and it sounds primarily too like it's nostalgia for something you're not nostalgic for.
And, it's got to be that way. Like, I loved the old Sierra games, but, I mean, like, the humor is just... It is such... It is... Like, I feel like it's a game written for little kids.
Okay.
And I like a lot of little kids' literature. Like, the Prydain Chronicles is one of my favorite book series ever. I mean, that's a kid's book series, but... I don't know. It's been so hard for me because I have been thinking so hard this last week. What is my problem with this game? Why does it infuriate me so much when I play it? Why am I so impatient to get to the next part?
I'm trying to figure out exactly how far you got. Did you reach home?
I don't know what. I guess not.
Okay.
Like straight
All
up. Obviously, I dealt with Toriel. You know, the tutorial.
So did you completely beat tutorial and go through the door?
Right. Yes.
Okay. So you went. That was home. Okay. So you got there and you moved on from there. I'm just checking.
Well, let me. I think I can say this fairly spoiler free for the people who are really upset. Obviously, I got through the tutorial. I got through the first town with the 2 skeleton characters.
Yeah.
and I got through it was like a cave or a river or something like that with a spear wielding villain, and got through that. And then I went partway through the next area, which is kind of a lab, and just I don't know. I really tried hard to like the game.
Without spoiling something else, the runaway option, was that when you were at the door, the boss there? Was that the one that you thought you had to run away from?
The
Sorry, I'm trying to be vague.
Yeah, I mean you're talking about the first boss of the game, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That actually brings that. I was trying to use the mercy option on that boss, but you literally have to use the mercy option on that boss.
Okay.
Oh crap! I'm spoiling things now. What? Sometimes
it's
to
okay. It's the
accomplish
first
things,
boss, like.
Yeah, but sometimes to accomplish something in this game, you literally have to do it 20 times.
Yeah.
And it's kind of frustrating for me. It's usually obvious that you have to do it because the character will keep saying something different. The boss I was talking about running away was the third boss, the spear world one.
I haven't beaten that one.
It's
okay.
My bad.
I think
it's fine.
I think it's really interesting that this game has been so divisive, and I think it's totally fine that you don't like it, because a lot of times there's just going to be those games that everything it presents is something antithetic to what you enjoy. Like, you just look at the whole thing just as an experience, and you say, I just don't like anything about what this is presenting. And I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't click with you.
It's not like I paid $60 for the thing. The game is $10, and if you get it with the soundtrack, it's like 17 or $18. So it's not like I'm really hurt myself financially or I'm holding a grudge with it. I don't want to play the game anymore. I didn't like it. For me, it was not a good game. It was not a game I would recommend to another person.
Yeah. So
I have the entirely opposite side of the spectrum of opinion.
So Mina, let's go with we'll go a little out of turn here, but let's go with your impression, since you're kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum here.
Okay, so I do agree though that the game is very punny. So from the perspective of somebody who actually adores Earthbound and Mother 3, this game actually adopts way more of Mother 3 than Earthbound, actually. Which is not a bad thing to me at all, because Earthbound was all fun, all laughs, no seriousness. The seriousness of Earthbound came at the very tail end of the game, where all of a sudden you got the entire mood shift into, wow, sad, depressing, what's going on? Like, it's been jokes and laughs this entire way, and now you're really making me feel uncomfortable and scared. So this game is pretty different, whereas kind of the game keeps giving you laughs and jokes, but then immediately brings down the mood, and then the mood goes up again and the mood goes down. So it's going through roller coasters of emotions and throwing jokes and silliness the entire time. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna add, I guess you probably can't tell me without spoiling. For me, the game there wasn't anything depressing about the game, honestly.
Okay. So here's something about Undertale. I don't know if you're aware of this. Undertale has multiple paths, and by multiple paths, I mean it actually has multiple paths. The story goes wildly into different directions. You can choose to not be pacifist at all, and you have an entirely different experience with the game. And additionally, I don't want to spoil it, but this is kind of one of the selling points. People are excited and blabbing about it is once you beat the game and you decide to play it again, your actions from your first playthrough are remembered and done something to your next playthrough. It carries immediately over. So if you decide to play a pacifist run the first time you play the game and you come back and play the game again, it remembers those choices and says something to you while you're playing that game and kind of affects. So it's really interesting that a $10 game decides to do something undertake something like that, I guess. but yeah, I totally get the nostalgia thing. Like that's why a lot of people latched onto it, was because um, for me, like I heard basically this had been influenced by Mother 3 strongly, and I was like, I'm on board. Yeah, that's all
Oh,
you
I
had
want
to
that.
tell me. Let me see if they're lying or being truthful about it. And I definitely feel it. The art style has a very cute, quirky sort of appeal to it. Um, the battle system. So to do the whole mercy option, the pacifist option, rather than like actually actively fighting, you do a lot of like talking things or interactions with the monster, and it's very silly. I guess I don't know how to describe that because it's not really, you're not really actually doing something. It kind of reminds me of like Persona. I hate saying that. Persona's like demon talking stuff where it's just like I don't know what this is doing, if it's actually doing something, but actually
Oh, yeah.
it actually does do something in this case. But instead of being like utterly random, it actually does stuff. And then you do your mercy option, and you don't get experience points, you get money and move on with the game. To some people,
Musim,
that's
you were gonna say something?
go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna comment on because I haven't killed anyone in my playthrough.
Right.
And generally, how it works is you pick like an option to say something to them. Like you'll have, oh, here's a blobby thing, so you can flirt with it, and you will
Wiggle your
gyrate
hip.
the way the blob is gyrating, and then you will then be put into this box where you have to dodge whatever it's shooting at you. And then you can do your mercy or exit option.
Yeah.
And I'm not a bullet hell guy. And to me, those little boxes, however cutesy and kind of graphically inventive they might be, and they are graphically inventive because
Yeah.
every enemy is this really custom encounter, which I'll give the game that. But you're still at the end of the day playing a bullet hell shooter where you're not shooting anything.
Yeah. You're just being a pacifist and dodging it.
Yeah.
So Mina, have you finished the game, or is that all?
No,
Okay, I was
I'm
curious
pretty
if you'd run into the
I'm-
new game plus stuff yet.
No, that's what's got me mostly excited about it, is because I can't wait to play basically the second round. Like I'm already excited for the second round. I'm not even there. I'm not even up to where Musa's at, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like the way I've seen it so far, I'm really anticipating good things from this game because there are a lot of people who've already beaten it and they've already spoken on it, how great it's been. And honestly, I just like it reminds me of it does remind me of Earthbound and Mother 3 in the sense that see, I didn't have like the emotional attachment to the character that it probably wanted to you immediately. I was actually pretty suspicious of that character, and I had a moment that I can only describe as the Dragon Quest V moment with your father when I can't spoil it, but I had that moment occur to me in the middle of this battle, and I suddenly felt monstrous and terrible that I had suspected ill of this character, because I realized that this character wanted nothing more than my own happiness, and I realized I've been a monster to this person in my own mind, and I felt pretty terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, I had an emotional breakdown while I was doing that fight. I was like, this hurts.
Like, was it that first character?
Yes, that first character. I had an emotional
So-
the thing was I was just suspicious, because you start to think, oh, like, did you explore your bedroom?
I don't remember. I clicked on some things. I
Oh
don't
man,
remember
I was
how well
investigating
explored things.
everything. So
I can tell how much Musim didn't like this game. I've done this in the past too, where I finish it and I was like, I dislike that so much. I'm wiping every memory of this game from me completely.
I feel like this isn't too much of a spoiler because it's really the tutorial, the very intro of the game. But you get a bedroom at some point, and in the bedroom there's like a box of children's shoes of all different sizes, and like you get told like that's your new bedroom, and I'm like, why are there a bunch of children's shoes in here? There's like I'm the only kid, and so my head starts spinning with like, oh my god, this is a bad
What happened to
situation.
their kids?
I'm having all the other kids, and then like you try and talk to that character, and you try saying like, hey, I wanna go home. I want to go home right now, and the character is like, deflecting and like trying to be like, oh, let me tell you about this story, and it's like, no, I want to go home
Give
right
me the
now.
answers.
And that character's like, be right back, and walks away from you, and it's like, well, what's going on? Where are you going? And then like, you go down into the basement, and that character's like, they always leave, they always get away, but they never come back. I'm just like, what's going on?
Are you killing these kids? What's happening?
Are you
I gotta
killing
go.
these kids? I need to get out of here. I'm just a little kid.
So are you going 100% pacifist?
Yeah, I'm going 100% pacifist my first run, because I
I was about to
figured.
say, I could see the game being like emotionally, like kind of super depressing if you went like the attack route and didn't figure out the solution I did to that first boss. But
Well, the solution to that first boss, I didn't realize what the solution was until I kept thinking like, oh, I'm gonna eat food and heal, regen, and just like keep doing this, and then I realized at some point and that there was no way for you to actually lose this fight. And when
Yeah.
I realized that, my heart started to bleed a little bit, and I started to feel like a monster, because I realized that this fight was like, I couldn't possibly lose this fight, and because I couldn't possibly lose this fight, that made the fight really sad for me.
you see, I'm so bad at dodging things. I immediately realized that.
Oh no! I was dodging, like I was doing pro level dodging. I'm like, oh, this is good. And then like I just slowly got whittled down to the point, and I'm like, man, this fight is really tough. And then like I noticed that like the fight wasn't going to fail, and I was like, you can't
Don't
do
this
it.
to me.
You can't do it. You can't. And so like once I realized that, I was like, this is the saddest thing I've ever seen, because the character literally wasn't going to fight me, and I couldn't possibly lose. And that felt really, I guess that touched me on like an emotional level that I guess the gameplay was sending to me without actually actively saying it, which I thought was genius, that a game could translate that message without actually saying this character can't fight you. I was literally experiencing the character unwilling to fight me through the mechanics, and I was like, this is brilliant.
You see, and that's not the first time I've encountered a game that did that, though.
Oh.
So, like, that is, and I've been trying to figure out what other games have done that. I mean, it's fairly normal in, like, a lot of tutorial games where the boss can't actually kill you, and I usually try and figure that out pretty quick, because I'm always looking for kind of the extents of the box that the game has put me in. So that wasn't a new experience for me when that happened. It was just, oh, that's a nice touch.
Oh,
like,
this tutorial thing. Yeah, so it felt a little bit flat for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. This sounds like a pretty interesting game. I've been on the fence about whether or not I'm going to try it, but it's so divisive that I feel like I have to try it just to see which side of the fence I fall on.
Well, and it's only $10, and allegedly it only takes like 6 hours to beat or something like that.
And that's the whole replay value sort of thing, where it pays back, where it's like you beat it real quick, you can jump right in and experience something else, and not only experience it, but kind of get to experience the add-on of beating it and getting the experience added on top of whatever you've done.
Right.
So
okay, well, I'm curious to check in with you next month, Mina, to see now, once you've finished it and maybe finished it multiple times, kind of how your whole Undertale experience goes.
Yeah. I have a feeling at this point I don't think I'm going to hate it, because if it's more of the same, I'm just going to be delighted at this point. But I also have this feeling that they've done a really good job setting up the story, that I'm going to be shocked by something that's going to happen, and hopefully no spoilers, that it's gonna jump out with a surprise at me, as Mother 3. Off. Yeah, as Mother 3 and Earthbound did. I would imagine that a game that would attribute this was our, kind of spiritual sort of thing we've adopted. I would imagine they're going to have some sort of surprise in there in the story. And for me, the other thing I also know is that Mother 3 and Earthbound are really good games, but I feel like they only achieve like the accolades for them if you beat the game. It's kind of like a whole experience. You sit back and think back on that game rather than a little bit of it, because parts of those games are slogs, and the humor and everything may help you through it, but it's kind of like the whole world experience that really does it for you. But I really like Undertale. I can't sing enough of its praises. $10. It's really that's a good price for it.
And at $10, you know, like Musim was saying, it's worth a shot at least.
Right.
You know, you may fall in love with it, and it may be one of your worst games of the year, but at least you're not in it for $60.
Not $60.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I would like to like it, but I don't think I'm going to turn it on again.
Yeah, I think the thing is like you also have to kind of deal with that humor, which was a lot of reasons why a lot of people never liked the Earthbound Mother series or whatever, because the humor just they either found it like not funny at all or it added nothing for them. And I'm totally down for that humor.
I loved the freaking 90s Sierra. Like, to me, it's 90s Sierra game humor. Like, it's not quite to the goodness of Space Quest level. It's down at like kind of King's Quest and Quest for Glory level of humor.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like the puzzles, actually, I feel like I could compare it to King's Quest, where, oh, you were supposed to know to throw the shoe at the rat so he'll run in the bakery, so then you can go in the bakery and get the ring.
Yeah.
And actually, you might not have gotten the ring in that bakery. I really don't actually remember what you got there, but the point being is it made no freaking sense. And that's how I feel through most of this game. But I'm not really a puzzle game guy. I like math, which is probably a large chunk of the reason why I like a lot of, you know, computer and JRPGs.
Yeah.
But
I would also remind people, like, you have to check everything in this type of game. When they give, like, every object has kind of something to look at and investigate, like, there's a lot of stuff there. Like the shoes thing, that scared me to death, because I was like, what is going on? And then I started investigating more, and I'm like, oh, this room is closed off. Why is this room closed off? There's so many questions running through my head and so many things. And I wondered if I had played the game differently, would something worse have happened at that period in time? Because I haven't looked up anything on that game.
I looked up to see how many bosses I were in it, just because I was curious about how close I was, and also I got stuck on that one boss and had to Google it. But and actually, now that I think about it, I think I got stuck on the first boss too, and my friend just told me basically what to do. And it was just because, like, nothing in this game comes naturally to me whatsoever. It's
right.
Yeah. All right, so Musim, what else have you been playing this month?
Well, I platinumed Persona Dance All Night.
Nice. I played a little bit of that.
Man, that's a great game.
It has a really goofy and great game.
Yeah. No, that story was I skimmed through a lot of text in that story.
Very dense.
Yes. But by the end of it, I even liked the new character they added a bit, even though I really did not like her when the game started.
Who's that, Konami?
Yeah. Gosh, so many puns running through my head.
I know.
I don't know. They've been for a while. I was trying to keep up with the store on the free DLC they were adding, but I haven't brought myself to pay $5 for like Mary's DLC or Adachi's DLC.
Oh yeah.
Like, I would like to play those songs, but I don't want to pay for them, so I'm going to gamble on Atlas having a good Christmas sale like they usually do.
That's true. It's right around the corner.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have anything to add on that I didn't already say. I love that game. Oh, actually, I do have one thing to add, though. When you're going for the trophies in that, any of the songs you have to do on hard mode, be sure you're buying the items, because the items you can... Basically, it turns on and it might lower your score and the money you get from it, but it makes the song way easier to do.
Oh, okay.
Or it's not that it makes it easier. It makes that it forgives a lot of the mistakes you do when you're doing the song. So
okay.
I've noticed that too.
A lot more doable.
Yeah.
think that's the only way I'm going to be able to do it.
Yeah, the game ramps up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's well, and I've now beaten some on what's it called, Dance All Night mode, the hardest one.
Oh, jeez.
I've beaten at least one on there, maybe two.
Jeez.
And I've beaten most of them on hard. But I didn't feel like the game did a good job at training me at first, but like once I figured out the ropes and just started, I don't know. It all, I feel like like if we were talking about actually having a real associated level to yourself and how good you were at the game. Like when I was level 1 through 20, the game didn't do a great job at ramping things up. But like once you get past 20 or 30, like you learn things more evenly. You got to do the songs out of order when you're in free mode, you know, because you got to look for the next star up and then it starts making more sense. But,
yeah, it's laid out a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played a little bit of Persona Q. I'm still in the Date Cafe. That is just a really good game to get in for 15 minutes and get out of. Like, you get in, you draw a map, you do something, you get out.
Yeah.
Just real good when I'm not really quite sure what to do with my time and feel like fidgeting with something. So, I played a tiny bit of Xenoblade Chronicles. I basically just made it through the, I don't remember what that place is called. You're in some tomb for one of the character. It's not a tomb. It's a trial. This particular character, the story has placed her in a trial that she has to go through to prove something.
Oh, right.
And so I went through that trial, and now it sounds like there's going to be a big, like Mechon event battle or something soon. But I've been meaning to go back and do that. I just, because the game has basically said, look, this is about to happen, I realized that I'm going to need a good solid hour or two of attention to pay to it. So
that's about where I sort of fizzled out on the game for basically the same reason. I was sort of like, all right, I have a feeling that something is coming up here, and there's probably me a cutscene or something. I'll come back to that tomorrow. And it's been like 2 years.
Well, and my friend tells me the big story twist is at Prison Island, which I assume I go to after this, because they've been talking about going to Prison Island.
Boy, that island sounds like a bummer.
And so, it does. Why would you want to go there? You're not going to solve any problems there.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to at least get to the twist. We'll see if I mean, realistically, I'm probably, like, I basically have tonight, tomorrow, and Monday to play that game. And then, you know, it's all going to be Fallout.
Yeah, it's all going to be the wasteland.
Yep. And then, lastly, of course, I played some Warframe. I tried out the PvP in it this time, which is actually a lot of fun. I didn't expect that. If I were to describe the PvP, I'd say it was somewhere between the first Halo and Titanfall.
Oh, interesting.
Where it has kind of that speed and verticality of Titanfall, except it goes up like 6 stories instead of 1 or 2. But it also has kind of non-regenerating health bars where you have to find health all around the level. And it's Warframe, so if you've played forever like me, you literally have 100 weapons to choose from when you go in there. It's also kind of neat because they don't carry over the single-player mods into it, so everyone's pretty much on the same playing field in terms of being even. Like, you don't run into the Destiny thing of, oh, this person has this exotic that is working a little bit better in the PvP match right
You're
now.
all kind of on even playing field.
Yeah. I guess the only people who wouldn't be on the even playing field would be the ones who just started and literally only have the starting weapons.
Oh, okay.
But even the starting weapons aren't, like, without mods, like, they're really not that much worse than anything else. But I imagine it probably would be a slight handicap either way. So, but that's all I've been playing.
Mina, how about you?
Okay, so I played more Skyrim.
Okay.
My huge modded Skyrim. It's intense. So
is it holding steady though? Is it rock solid?
Yes, I'm really excited about that. I haven't had any real issues with it at all. I did buy another solid state drive.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
totally dedicated to only Skyrim.
Oh, wow.
It's all it has is Skyrim on it.
Wow.
And I told myself I'm not putting a single thing on this thing until I beat Skyrim, just so that way this thing has all the
Laser
resources.
focused.
You have
So-
leveled up in your Skyrim dedication.
Yeah.
Right. So I've been playing that. I've gotten up to the point where and I've been trying to tell myself, like, you know, don't do too many side quests. Like, if I start to feel like I'm doing way too many side quests, I'm like, we got to get back on that main story.
Yeah,
Gotta
what
get
are
back
the
on that
dragons
main
doing
story.
again?
So I'm having a lot of fun with that. I really like what I did with the mods. The survival mod especially is like one of my favorites because it adds like this element of like it's actually cold outside or whatever. You actually think about the weather, and I've always liked those types of mods that add like another layer of difficulty.
Yeah.
But not much to say other than that. I haven't reached the point where I'm unfamiliar with Skyrim, so I'm kind of waiting on that to happen before I start talking about my impressions or anything. Because right now it's just basically I've done this before. I'm just doing it again and then sprinkling a couple of side quests here and there, just so that way I don't get burnt out on the story or whatever.
Yeah.
So I did more Persona 4 Dancing All Night. My friend and I have been playing it a lot. And I found out that I'm really bad at it, or he's really good at it, because he doesn't use items and he's platinumed the game.
Oh my gosh.
He platinumed it. He platinumed it on the 4th day.
Super
Wow.
pro.
No
Jeez.
items. And he wrecks that game, and
Yeah, wow.
I feel like I'm like, well, am I that bad? Because I can't do it.
It sounds like he's that good, so I don't know
Okay.
if I'd compare myself.
There's
He-
no way I would be able to beat those songs without
I couldn't.
without
I
those
couldn't.
items.
No, and then the other two things I've done was I played 2 different demos, both of them Atlas. I played the Legend of Legacy demo, which is now out in full, I believe.
I think so,
Um,
yeah.
I really enjoyed it. A lot of people I talked to didn't enjoy it, but I feel like that game is probably like up somebody who likes kind of the grind.
Mm.
So if it's more of that in the real game, I'm probably down for it because I actually really enjoy the grind.
I
of
have
that
heard
game.
that it is very grindy, and it has... I'm going to try not to spoil it. It has a similar thing that Bravely Default has.
Uh-oh.
So,
Uh-oh.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, I don't know if that's a plus or a minus, but the grind is real.
The grind is real. I'm pretty happy about the grind, actually. It's just that I'm a little scared of like what's at the end of the grind.
Yeah.
So I haven't yet purchased that. I played the demo in full, though. I played the demo fully. The other demo I picked up was the Stella Glow demo.
I was hoping that one of you guys had played this demo, because Atlas is pushing it hard, and I know nothing about it.
So does this have anything to do with Stella Deus?
I
I don't believe so.
think
Okay.
so.
I think Stella Deus was... it's related to some other series, but I don't remember what
Okay.
it is.
Well, it's another. I mean, Atlas published it.
yeah.
So.
I think Stella Deus was Atlas developed. I don't think this one is Atlas developed. I think
Okay.
they're just publishing it.
So this game, I'm trying to put my finger on what exactly it reminds me of, but it reminds me of something. And then when I remember what game it reminds me of, I'm just going to basically say this is kind of like a trumped up version of this game, for better or worse. And because I've only played the demo, and I haven't beaten the demo, but I think I might be close because they can't have been giving me that much content in a demo.
Yeah.
Where do I begin? So,
What is this game?
okay, I guess we could start with that. It's a strategy game, so you actually move a tactics game, tactics. So,
It looks a lot like Wild Arms Crossfire, looking at the screenshots.
trying to think of a best way to describe this game.
Boy, this game looks all over the place.
It is kind of all over the place. So your character has the magical ability of counter. So that is like his special innate ability. I don't know if it goes further than that, but and you recruit witches of different elements to be in your party. And there's like some talk of basically there was this great hero at some point in time, and it sounded like the witches were in charge of they were left in assignment of something. This is like the beginning of the game, so I'm not spoiling anything that you wouldn't hear in the first 20 seconds. There is a game that quite literally I feel like this is like a copy of.
I'm trying to open up some of the videos here to see if I can help you out here. Witch tuning.
Yeah, that's the recruitment thing it's a little weird.
Oh, is it weird in like the way that B tier Atlas games are, where it's like
this is definitely
I'm a little
B
uncomfortable.
tier. This is a little B tier.
Yeah.
This is a little questionable. Here's the thing. I'm pretty sure that if you play this demo and you're just kind of like, I don't know if I want this game or not, you play the demo and you'll know immediately whether you want this game or not.
It's like playing Conception 2, where within the first hour you're like, this is...
That's it. That's kind of it. You pick up Conception 2 and like if you played the first hour of it, like it's going to be that. So
either
if you don't like
into
that,
this or you are not.
you get out. You know that the exit's right there and get out of here because this was not for you.
Yeah.
So I really feel like that's what the demo was telling me, and I'm like, a part of me just wants to like play more of it just so that way I can explain it to people who are like,
I know what this looks like. This looks like it's that Genesis series.
Yes.
What's it? Musin, we talked about it on the original RPG Love. It's the Genesis series where it's a strategy RPG, but then when you fight enemies, it moves to this like 2D side-by-side pane, and then they do a bunch of damage, and then they go back.
Yeah, it's just that.
Shining Force?
Shining Force, thank you.
Yeah,
it looks exactly like Shining Force.
Pretty much.
And Shining Force is a lot like... I just went blank. It's that other series that everyone is really into now. Like, it's actually a popular 3DS series now. Fire Emblem.
Yes. Yeah, it does a little bit of Fire Emblem. Yeah. But I mean, the thing is I'm pretty sure that this is not as in depth as Fire Emblem.
No, it doesn't look like it. It reminds me a lot more of Shining Force, where it kind of has that top-down strategy RPG, and then you make your move, and then it goes into this cool side-by-side sort of hack and slashy. Like, you don't do it, but it has this little move. Whew. Yeah. All right.
But
we got it.
I really feel, though, like you'll know right away when you're playing this game whether or not this was meant for you, and just do the demo and make your decision based off the demo.
It's on the eShop right now, so. And
it's definitely got enough of the story and intro for you to go, this story's pretty.
It's not what I'm into.
I knew immediately where I stood with the game.
Yeah, are you going to be picking up the final version?
If I pick it up, it's only to probably stream it, so that way people can see this really kooky game that they're probably not going to want.
Yeah.
So let's see. After that, I guess the only thing I've really played is Final Fantasy XIV, which is getting a patch on Tuesday.
Boy, they were really dumping out patches for that thing. That's pretty nice.
It is really nice. Actually, they did the expansion for Heaven's Ward, and there was this what I like to call the patch blues that occurs in every MMO ever, where it's just kind of like, okay, there was this big lull of nothing.
Yeah.
And so some people were pretty down about that, but I think the thing like a lot of people have to remember was the patches we were receiving when they were putting them out was coming out more frequently than any other MMO in current date. So it was kind of like, we were being spoiled as MMO players that they were doing so much, and
yeah,
it was obvious they were doing this so that way we would that the game would succeed. So the level of amount of patches they were producing was to accommodate that. Final Fantasy 11 is CC. Oh, I didn't play it No, I was just bringing this up so that way I could
No, sorry,
talk
I
about
just
the
I
patch.
forgot to mute my phone.
Oh, okay.
That text message, I was like, oh, no, be quiet.
So Final Fantasy XI, they're on the day after Final Fantasy XIV's patch, they're producing their last patch for Final Fantasy XI.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's the last patch they're doing, and it's basically the great ending of Final Fantasy XI. There's no
Like they're
more
wrapping up the story.
wrapping it up. It's done. They're not shuttering the servers, but this is kind of like, okay, the entire development team is no longer going to be here. We're extracting them. They're going somewhere else, probably to Final Fantasy 14.
Right,
So
or
if you
15, hopefully. Please help with Final Fantasy 15.
So, so what they basically said about 14 was the reason why the patches are going to be taking longer is probably because they're going to take more time off of work. People are actually going to be allowed to have vacations.
That'd be nice.
People will be able to go home from work and not live at the office anymore.
Also a bonus.
So yeah, so it sounds like what they're doing is they're actually releasing the chains on their employees there, and I'm thinking that because they're ending Final Fantasy XI, they're probably going to move at least some of that staff over to 14, so that way they can still have really good, healthy patches, but now actually be able to have their employees take time off.
Have a little breathing room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this patch is huge. I could spend an entire day talking about everything in the patch, but the thing that I'm mostly excited about is there's two things, I guess. The first thing is they're going to introduce minion battling, which is
Ooh.
the little tiny little cute little things that you can get inside the game. You're going to be able to battle with them, but it's not like World of Warcraft, which everybody immediately thought, oh, it's going to be World of Warcraft, the Pokemon battle thing.
Yeah.
And it's not like that at all. It's you get to set up oh dear gosh, let me think. What was the name? Was it Revenant Wings?
The Final Fantasy 12 sequel?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So this little minion battle thing, the best way I can describe it is it looks like that adopted into
Oh.
Final Fantasy 14, but modified a little bit, because you
That's
have a
kinda
summoning cost of minions that you can assign as what you want to summon, and then you have to defeat the other players' towers or whatever,
Oh, okay.
or whatever it is that you have to defeat or something like that, and it looks really, really cool, and it's that's just going right into the game, and it looks really huge in scale. The other thing I'm super excited about is the airships that everybody's been working on and building since the expansion are now we're able to fly on them and traverse to islands that we will be able to get off and do stuff on the islands, kill giant brachiosaurs and kill all kinds of monsters and stuff, and we're able to fish on these islands and gather on these islands, and then like based on whatever we do on the islands and return with, we get specialized loot and stuff, and
That's pretty neat.
that's pretty exciting because we built these giant airships and they're really cool looking, but we haven't been able to do much with them besides just kind of send little robots on the airships to places, and we don't really get to ride them. So this is going to be the first time we get to ride on our airships and land on these islands that we've been discovering. So I'm pretty hyped up about that. But there's like I said, a ton of content they're adding, tons of content. And this is just like two things that I'm super excited about.
Yeah.
So I can't wait. But that's pretty much all I've been playing.
So I have I spent probably the first half of the month playing a lot of Destiny: The Taken King. I've sort of fizzled out on that in favor of other games, but was going through playing a lot of the exotic quests, and I've finished almost all of those. But I did finish the new raid, King's Fall. I've been through that once. I played the normal. I didn't play the heroic one, the hard mode one. I probably won't for a while. The thing I can kind of compare it most to is the Vault of Glass. So it's that same level of experience. It's not really the Crota's End kind of run and gun, hour long sort of thing. I think it took us a little over 2 hours to run it, and I was running with a team that was pretty experienced in there. They've run it a number of times on multiple characters. I kind of fight with myself whether or not I like this or Vault of Glass more, and I always think that I keep coming back to Vault of Glass because King's Fall, you can see through the design of it that you have to bring 6 people with you. They're really trying to stop the thing that happened with Crota's End, which is people are just soloing it, or people are cheesing it, and it kind of gets out of hand. The way they designed it, and the way they design each encounter, you have to bring 6 people with you for the entire thing, which is fine. I like that because soloing a raid is not really great fun when that kind of becomes the expectation. I think the downside of that starts to become that each individual person's role in each encounter becomes so important that if one person fails to do their role, it really exposes that individual person, and it makes that encounter really, really hard to get through, if not impossible. And I feel like for me with Vault of Glass, they had that same design, but it was a little bit looser. So you could allow one party member to die or one party member to not necessarily know exactly what they need to do. It would be okay. But with King's Fall, it's a little bit more stringent on that. And I think that makes it kind of more stressful because there's a weight on you to say, all right, I have to do my job and I have to do it well. Otherwise, the party wipes. So that to me is kind of a bummer. I'm glad there is that experience there that is very technical, and it's designed for 6 people communicating really well and executing very, very well. But the pressure of it is maybe a little bit much. I kind of wish they would bring not really the difficulty, but maybe the rewards up on Vault of Glass and Crota's End, so you could kind of keep it relevant. Because right now, if you want to raid, King's Fall is really the only thing you can do. So and for some first-time raiders that maybe haven't done Vault of Glass or Crota's End before, I feel like King's Fall would be pretty intimidating to hop into. So I don't know how they're going to address that long term, if they do. Bungie makes some strange decisions. But really, the only other RPG I've been playing this month is a lot of Witcher 3. Finally started diving into that, and once I got over the initial hump of kind of the tutorial in the first village and then going through your first Witcher contract to hunt down that griffin, as soon as I finished that and kind of wrapped up that quest, I was 100% in this game, and I've put probably 40 or so hours into it already, and I'm doing the same thing you're doing, Mina, which is, all right, there's so many good side quests, and there's so much good loot. I have to focus on the story. It can't be 100 hours. I don't have time for that. Fallout 4 is coming.
Right.
Well, all the side quests in Witcher, I haven't played, but it seems like I've heard, aren't the side quests in that game, filled out with kind of story and interaction, so you don't really get run-of-the-mill ones?
Yeah, I feel like that's the one outstanding thing in this game. To me, it's the main story seems fine, but when you look at the side quests and then kind of your standard side quests and then the Witcher contracts, which are basically monster hunts, the Witcher contracts are really interesting because a lot of it is like some of the Batman investigation stuff, where you're going to an area, you're finding items, you're reading your bestiary, you're kind of going through and figuring out what happened and what you're fighting, and then preparing for it, and then encountering this monster and then killing it. I think that stuff is really well done. But yeah, the side quests are really interesting, especially because some of them tie into the main story in an interesting way, but a lot of them aren't like, you go to this guy and he wants you to get 5 wolf pelts. You go to this guy and his family is, under a curse because of X, Y, and Z, and then you go out and you do like 2 or 3 mission steps, and you go to a whole different area, and you're fighting through an entire dungeon to get to the end of it, and then you usually have to make a decision. And the thing about the Witcher series that I'm very quickly learning, because I really don't like Witcher 1, and I never spent any time with Witcher 2, is that nobody really wins in the Witcher universe. So you make a decision, and either you make the decision that is kind of selfish and you win, or you make a selfless decision where somebody else is probably going to die because of that. It's never really heavy enough that I feel like I made the wrong decision. I made a decision with the information I had, and it kind of didn't go the way I maybe had expected.
So I don't want to interrupt you too much, but
Sure.
I have the same exact experience with Witcher 1 and 2, like to the T.
Yeah.
How do you feel like I would enjoy Witcher 3 if I was just kind of like, man, I really did not like Witcher 1 and I didn't really invest time or really play Witcher 2?
For me, yeah. I think Witcher 1 had too many systems. You know, there's all these oils and these signs, and, you know, you had to meditate to do all this. You know, there's too much stuff to keep in mind, and the beginning of Witcher 1 is just bad. I never spent any time with Witcher 2 because I kind of missed it, and I never really caught it in the window. I feel like Witcher 3 grabbed me because the default difficulty, which everybody says you shouldn't play on because it's too easy, which is why I'm playing it on it.
Right.
You don't have to worry about, like, okay, I'm going to go fight these beasts, so I have to get the beast oil on my weapon, and I have to make sure I have all these potions and the right ones with me. You don't really have to worry about that. It doesn't turn it into a hack and slash. There is a difficulty for that called Just the Story, which basically sounds like monsters are like jumping on your sword. But it's a little bit more than that, where combat is a little bit more difficult and you have to block and you have to counter, but you don't have to go into aggressively using all your signs or your oils and all that stuff. That's what kind of pulled me into Witcher 3 a lot more, is because I didn't have to worry about preparing for 5 minutes to go for a 2-minute monster battle. You know, I know some people really like that, and the higher difficulties in the game, there's 2 higher ones. Those are there for the people that like that traditional Witcher experience. But what it turned into for me is kind of Skyrim with a better battle engine and a better story. And it's this open world, and it has meat in it, and I liked that.
So the exploration aspects of it feel pretty good then.
Yeah, because it's an open world, but it feels like there's enough stuff in there, but it's not like when you open up a modern day Assassin's Creed map and there's just hundreds of icons. You know, there is a lot of stuff on the map, and the second area you go to is really big, but it never feels like, I never look at it and I never go, how am I going to go to all, like, I never feel like I have that paralysis of like, how am I going to do all this stuff? And there's all these question marks on the map, which is Witcher's way of kind of saying there's a thing here, but it's not important. So it could be like a monster den that you need to kill all the monsters and blow up the den. Could be like a bandit camp where you kill all these bandits and then loot their camp for all this cool loot. You know, there's stuff like that sure, you could get some stuff in it, but if you miss that stuff, it's not really going to impact you that much, so you can kind of stick to the side quests and the monster hunts and the main story. You'll do well enough sort of doing that.
Is there a lot of towns or cities in the game?
There are, surprisingly. So there's kind of one huge city in Novigrad, I believe it's called. It seems like Novigrad is kind of the central point of the Witcher storyline. Sounds like that's kind of like the New York of the Witcher. But there's all these little towns. There's these couple of big towns that are very much, you're going to go here and it's going to be a little bit of a quest hub. But there's these little towns, even if they're like 5 buildings, there's going to be a lot of little towns peppered around the map. And usually you'll go there and they'll have a shop and they might have an inn, but they'll probably at least have one side quest where this guy's like, hey man, I got attacked by this ghost. The heck is going on? And then it starts, a Witcher contract. So yeah, there's kind of a surprising amount of content in it, but I never feel overburdened in it like you can with some open world games where you finish up a quest and then you go into a town and then there's 20 more quests. And it's kind of the Xenoblade problem where it's like, thank goodness I just finished this big quest chain. Oh, that person has 4 more quests. Oh god. It never really feels like that. I appreciate how The Witcher can give you a bunch of quests, and the quest log very, very clearly breaks up. All right, here are your main story quests. Here are your secondary quests, which are just kind of your general side quest bucket. Here are your Witcher contracts, and then here's kind of other stuff. Not stuff that you don't have to worry about, like going and playing the card game in different towns to beat all the innkeepers in this one area. If you want to do it, you can, but it's not really going to pressure you to do that. Which, thankfully, because I'm not that great at that card game. So I feel like they managed to really strike a good balance between giving you a ton of stuff to do, but not really forcing you to do all of that stuff. I think it's something that Skyrim did really well too, where it's sort of like, all right, here's all this stuff, and it's here if you want to do it, but we're going to let you kind of explore at your own leisure. So yeah, Witcher 3 is great. It's kind of funny because everybody has been singing the praises of Witcher 3, and all I can kind of say is, yeah, it is really that good. I can't really add a lot to it, but you should go play it. It is really that good. And I'm playing on PS4, and they finally have all the frame rate and performance issues resolved, and they've been patching the hell out of that game ever since it came out, and it seems to be at a solid point. So CD Projekt Red, don't screw it up. I just want to finish it. But that's all I've been playing this month. And usually we take a break, but we're just going to go right into RPG releases for November 2015. Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky SC stands for second chapter. Out now for the PSP and PC. I didn't misspeak. It's actually up for PSP. It is Vita compatible and PlayStation TV compatible if you want to play it there. But Xseed kind of came out and said, hey, we're done. It's coming out on Tuesday. So, hooray. So that game seems like it's getting really great reception, and I need to play the first one. So apparently there are 3 Trails in the Sky games, but the first and second one are kind of the entirety of the story, and then the third one doesn't really matter as much as the first 2. So at least in English, against all odds, we have the 2 chapters of these 2 giant games. Dragonfin Soup came out for PS3, PC, PS4, and PS Vita. On PS4 this month, it is free as part of PlayStation Plus. I played a little bit of that and don't want to pass judgment on it yet. It is a roguelike, kind of, but it seems like it might blend lines with an SRPG. So a lot of people have said good things about that game, so I want to give it a little bit more time before I say anything about it. Yokai Watch is out now for the 3DS. This is Level 5, one of our favorite RPG developers. Basically their take on Pokemon. It is huge in Japan, so it is finally coming out here. It looks really good. So fingers crossed it does well, because there are a bunch of Yokai Watch games out in Japan. Most importantly, Fallout 4 coming out, PC, PS4, and Xbox One coming out on the 10th.
I already have it preloaded.
I have the Pip-Boy version pre-ordered for PS4, so I've got that coming.
Did you download the app?
I already downloaded the app. Yep, I will probably never wear it on my wrist, but
I'm the only person in this podcast who will not be playing it.
Do you think you'll pick it up at some point?
I do. I want to pick it. Okay, so here's my theory. The patch for Final Fantasy XIV happens November 10th. And I had a very hard decision to make here. I was like, this patch is huge. I want to be a part of it. I want to do the content while it's new. And then I was like, I really want Fallout 4, but what are some downsides to playing Fallout 4 later? Modders will have gotten their hands on it.
That's true.
I can wait for that.
There'll be a good Christmas sale. Maybe it'll be on one of the final Christmas sale days.
I feel bad that I'm not getting it, though, because I have always been really quick about picking up the Fallout series.
Bethesda will be doing okay without one more sale.
They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
They probably sold like 3 million of the Pip-Boy editions. Like,
I'm sure.
As they kept bringing it back online. They're like, found another factory that'll do it. I'm like, that is never going to be a collector's item because everyone is going to own it. Yeah,
the only thing I'm kind of torn about is the Rise of the Tomb Raider comes out on the same day, and I was like, but I want to play that too. Not an RPG, but
I feel bad for that game. Because
these two games are kind of my most anticipated of this fall season. So choices. The previously spoken about Stella Glow for the 3DS comes out on the 17th. And last but not least, coming out on December 4th for the Wii U, Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is a game that every time I look at it seems to have more mech battles. So
yeah, get your mech on.
Yeah,
get it. That
was it. Oh man, good times. All right, let's talk about. We don't have too many news stories this month. It's been kind of a quiet news story month, but. Atlas came out and announced Shin Megami Tensei 4 Final, which originally sounded like, what Square Enix does with their international edition. It kind of sounded like that. And I was like, oh, well, that's fine. I played SMT4. But no, it seems to be a full-fledged sequel to SMT4.
I was wondering, just add a 2 on there. I don't know.
Don't call it Final. Just call it Epilogue or...
It sounds like a remix or something.
yeah.
I guess I didn't read up on this. I thought it had the original game in it, and it was just like extra content.
Totally separate, brand new game. So it sounds basically. I'm gonna try not to spoil SMT4, but it's the reverse of what happens in SMT4 story-wise. So instead of going down, you're going up.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that could be neat.
Yeah, and you basically start as the people that are down. So that sounds really interesting, and I really liked you like that, Mina?
That's not a spoiler ever.
I know.
People who don't know SMT4 are just like, what is he talking about?
Sounds stupid.
If you're down with it, then that's who you're starting with.
Until I heard that, I was sort of like, I don't know, man, more SMT4. I liked it, but that game was tough. And now that I heard that, and I've seen some of the screenshots of your party members and kind of everything that you're going to be playing with, I'm pretty excited for more SMT4. Atlas, come on, man. I don't have enough time to play all these games. So the only thing I hope is that I hope you don't have to finish SMT4 to appreciate all the stuff that Final has going on it. I feel like that would kind of be a bummer. You should play SMT4 if you're listening, because that game is really great, and it's super cheap now.
I really just got to bust out a walkthrough and go and finish that game. Like, I can't be... Like, I got to at least be halfway through it.
You were really far along, and the thing that bothers me about mainline SMT games is sometimes they'll be like, all right, you got to go talk to this person, and they dump you on the map, and it's like, where are they, and what tunnel do I have to go to get to this other place? Like, just pull out a walkthrough, and it'll tell you, go to this place, take this exit, go talk to this dude. Yeah, otherwise, I don't know how you would finish that game in any reasonable amount of time. It's intense. Next news story here, the Nier sequel, which I keep forgetting is made by Platinum Games, which is... I'm so happy. Is now titled in Japan Nier Automata, and they released a trailer which looks so good. It's more Nier, but Platinum, I think, has kind of cleaned up the edges on the original Nier.
They make all the games now. I mean,
they do, and man, they are so good at making the games. So make more of those. I'll keep playing them. And Square Enix announced that Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13 should be out in December on PC. I've heard the first two are well received on PC. Apparently, they did a really good job at porting into PC, and the reason why this has taken a while to come out is because they're trying to do a good job on porting this final one to PC. So, if I would play through Final Fantasy 13 again, I would probably do it on PC, because I kind of liked Final Fantasy 13 too. That game was pretty okay.
See, combine like a Steam sale with that Steam Link device, and then
there you go. Break out your 360 controller.
Yeah, or find out if that Steam controller is hell or not.
Yeah, I used a real early version of that, like the very first run of it, and it was rough, but they made the changes that they needed to make on the final version. So,
I think I'm literally just going to get one because I'm curious about it, like because it comes out here in a week, and I will have birthday money by the end of the month. So
right, I'm hoping that by the time it comes out, that so what Valve is, we'll just take a quick detour. We don't have any tweets or emails, so we'll take a quick detour. What Valve is going to do at some point is the community can make basically configuration mapping schemas for the controller for specific games, and the one that is most popular, at some point you use a Steam controller with Steam, you fire up the game, and it kind of maps the most popular one to the Steam controller automatically. So as time goes on, that stuff should get better and better. So early adopters for that might have a little bit of a rough time or have to go find those manually, but at some point that sounds like it's going to be a pretty flawless system. So, and I have no experience with the Steam Link, but that thing seems super cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, no tweets or emails this week, or month, sorry. Not on TVGP, that's crazy. But if you'd like to visit us, you can do so at pickingupthepixels.com. Tweet us at pickingupPixels. Email us fans@pickingupthepixels.com. You can tweet and email us at any time. I just save them all for the episode. You can watch us twitch.tv/E1N1 Network. The schedule and a time zone calculator is on the right-hand side of the page, along with all of our social media links. Musum, where can we find you?
You can find me at thecarouselpodcast.com, also on iTunes and all that. And you can get my music at musim.bandcamp.com.
And Mina, where can we find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv /MinakoRocket, MINAKO Rocket.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening and watching. Thank you, Mina and Musum, for joining me again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And our venture continues next month. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Really appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in chat. Always like to see people chatting it up in there. And we'll see you in December. Adios.